He's been a rock star, a villain, and a master of reinvention. From breaking walls down to ruling AEW, every version of Chris Jericho carried a new look, a new voice, and a new way to steal the spotlight. 1. Y2J, the Millennium Man, 1999. It was 1999, and WWE was at its peak. Austin, Rock, Triple H. But then, the countdown began. 10, 9, 8, and the crowd joined in, not knowing who was about to walk through that curtain. When the lights hit and break the walls down, blasted through the arena, Chris Jericho had arrived. He called himself Y2J, the Millennium Man, claiming he was here to save the company from its own mediocrity. It was bold, arrogant, and exactly what WWE needed. His first promo, interrupting The Rock, instantly set the tone. Jericho didn't care who you were. He talked like he belonged, and within minutes, fans knew he did. Inside the ring, Jericho was different. Fast, technical, unpredictable. He'd mix cruiserweight speed with taunting theatrics, hitting a lion salt 1 second and flexing the next. Every move screamed personality. The iconic countdown entrance wasn't just a gimmick. It was inspired by the real-world Y2K scare, when people feared computers might crash as the year turned 2000. Only Jericho could turn a global panic into a wrestling debut. He quickly became a fan favorite and a heel at the same time, mocking legends, clashing with China, and stealing every promo segment he touched. Jericho had something most rookies didn't: control. He could make you hate him and laugh at him in the same breath. And just when fans thought the Millennium Man was all talk, Jericho proved there was a lot more behind the countdown, something that would soon change his place in wrestling forever. 2. The Undisputed Champion, 2001. By 2001, Jericho had done a lot of talking, but now it was time to back it up. The Attitude Era was reaching its peak. Austin, Rock, and Angle were trading main events like it was nothing Jericho wanted in, but WWE wasn't handing him a ticket to the top. He had to take it. It all came down to one night, December 9th, 2001. Vengeance. 4 men, 2 titles, 1 goal: to crown the first ever undisputed champion. Few expected Jericho to survive the night, let alone win. But in classic Jericho fashion, he shocked the world, beating both The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin back-to-back in a single night. That moment turned him from entertainer to legend. The arrogance was still there. Now it came with gold draped over each shoulder. What most fans don't realize is that Jericho's win wasn't just historic, it was symbolic. For the first time ever, the WCW and WWF world titles were unified under one man. And that man wasn't Austin, Rock, or Triple H. It was Jericho. He leaned into it too, walking slower, talking smoother, and calling himself the best in the world at what I do, long before it became a catchphrase. Or here. His promos became colder, more deliberate, dripping with the confidence of someone who had done what no one else could. Jericho wasn't chasing the spotlight anymore. He was the spotlight. The kid who interrupted The Rock had now beaten him clean. And with that, Y2J became more than a loudmouth with a countdown. He was now cemented as a main event player. But Jericho wasn't done reinventing himself. The next version would push arrogance to a whole new level, one that made fans question if he even cared about wrestling at all. 3. The man of 1004 holds 1999 to 2000. Before Jericho was beating legends, he was mocking them. In WCW, he wasn't the world beater fans would later see. He was the troll before trolling was a thing. His man of 1004 holds gimmick came from frustration. WCW didn't take him seriously, so he made them laugh and made them watch. After Dean Malenko was called the man of 1000 holds, Jericho pulled out a massive scroll on live TV, reading every move he could name: arm bars, suplexes, and more. He improvised most of it mid-promo, slipping in random moves repeatedly, turning filler TV into one of WCW's funniest segments ever. He played the cowardly heel perfectly, throwing tantrums, using props, whining to referees, and in doing so, built the foundation for everything that came next. Jericho wasn't the biggest or toughest, but he learned something far more powerful: how to control the crowd. Boo, laugh, chant, whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. By the time he left WCW, He wasn't just a cruiserweight, he was a storyteller, and that same gift for character would soon take him from goofy showman to something far more dangerous. 4. The Suit and Tie Jericho, 2008 to 2010. By 2008, Chris Jericho had already proven he could talk, wrestle, and shock crowds. But the game had changed, and so had he. Out went the flashy tights and face paint, and in came crisp suits, slicked back hair, and a calculated corporate swagger. Jericho wasn't just a wrestler now, he was a businessman, a man who measured every word, every step, every glance. This version of Jericho thrived on subtle dominance. He would stroll to the ring like he owned the place, not because he did, but because he made you believe he did. Inside the squared circle, his style shifted too. Gone were the over-the-top antics of Y2J. In their place, precision strikes, methodical grapples, and a sharp, almost surgical approach to wearing down opponents. Every match felt like a chess game, with Jericho 3 moves ahead. And the promos, oh, the promos. He leaned into arrogance in a way that was irresistible to the audience. Whether mocking legends or insulting fans, he had a tone that made you listen. Did you know that during this era, Jericho carried multiple versions of his suit trunks to live shows, each subtly tailored for a different entrance or angle, just to keep his presentation perfect every time? It wasn't vanity, it was strategy. Fans saw a more refined Jericho, but underneath the sophistication, he was still the same innovator. This version demanded attention, proving you didn't need face paint or loud entrances to dominate. He could win respect and boos while sipping a metaphorical martini on the way to the ring. And just when you thought Jericho had shown every side of himself, he would remind the world he could be absurd, unhinged, and terrifying all at once. The next era would take that arrogance and turn it into obsession, complete with a list that fans would never forget. 5. The List of Jericho, 2016 to 2017. By 2016, Chris Jericho had done it all: titles, feuds, reinventions, but the world hadn't seen this side yet. Enter the List of Jericho, a gimmick that was equal parts absurdity and brilliance. Fans didn't just watch Jericho anymore. They waited to see who would make the wrong move, who would get crossed off his infamous scroll. The beauty of this era wasn't just in the theatrics. Jericho's promos became masterpieces of timing and delivery. He'd pause, stare, and slowly announce a name, making the simplest statement feel like life or death. The audience hung on every word, laughing, cringing, or cheering, sometimes all at once. Did you know that Jericho actually kept a real handwritten list backstage, adding names between tapings just to stay in character and keep wrestlers guessing? It was commitment at the highest level. In the ring, he combined his methodical suit-wearing precision with flashes of wild unpredictability. A sudden codebreaker or lion salt could change the course of a match in seconds, keeping opponents and the audience off balance. The list wasn't just a prop. It was an extension of Jericho's control over the environment, a tool to manipulate, entertain, and dominate. Jericho had once again proven that reinvention wasn't just about looks or moves. It was about understanding the crowd, psychology, and timing. Every addition to the list elevated the stakes, turning even mid-card segments into must-watch TV. And just when fans thought the list was the pinnacle of Jericho's creativity, he would show that he could turn fear, theatrics, and a little blood into something darker, something far more dangerous than even the most ridiculous scroll could contain. What came next would make audiences question how far Jericho was willing to go, blurring the line between wrestler and monster. And hey, if you're enjoying Jericho's evolution, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next transformation. 6. The Painmaker, 2018 to present AEW. By 2018, Chris Jericho had reinvented himself countless times, but the Painmaker shocked even his most loyal fans. Dark, violent, and unrelenting, this version traded flash for fear, with blood-streaked face paint and black leather signaling something entirely new. In the ring, he blended technical mastery with brawling intensity, every strike and hold telling the story of a man who didn't just want to win. He wanted to dominate. Jericho drew inspiration from classic horror films for his persona, studying how villains command presence without saying a word, making the Painmaker as unsettling as he was thrilling. His promos matched his look. No comedy, no pauses, just authority and menace. Opponents faced a strategist who could turn savage in an instant. Even after decades, Jericho proved he could reinvent fear itself, showing fans and younger stars that evolution never stops. And while the Painmaker cemented his reputation as terrifying, it also hinted at Jericho's next move, a persona blending charm, manipulation, and chaos like only he could pull off. 7. Le Champion, 2019 to 2020 AEW. When Chris Jericho arrived in AEW, he didn't just bring star power, he brought prestige. And by 2019, that prestige took form as Le Champion, AEW's first ever world champion. Jericho wasn't just holding a title, he was shaping an entirely new promotion's identity, proving that his presence alone could make a championship feel invaluable. Le Champion was a masterclass in charisma and cunning. He would taunt opponents, flaunt his gold belt, and bend every interaction to his favor. Jericho's promos mixed arrogance and humor, making fans cheer and groan at the same time. Did you know that during this reign, Jericho was so meticulous about the belt's presentation that he personally adjusted it before every entrance, ensuring it gleamed perfectly under the arena lights? It was part showmanship, part dominance, a symbol that Le Champion was always in control. In the ring, Jericho blended his old-school techniques with new AEW dynamics, using psychological tactics as much as physical offense. Every hold, every counter, and every attack reinforced the story that he was the man to beat, but only if you could handle his mind games as well as his fists. This era wasn't just about wins, it was about proving that Jericho could define a company while remaining unpredictable. Fans never knew if he'd cut a scathing promo, pull a shocking stunt, or deliver a perfectly timed maneuver to turn the tide of a match. Even as AEW grew and stars rose around him, Le Champion reminded everyone that Jericho could still dictate the pace, the tone, and the story, simply by walking into the building. And after dominating the spotlight, Jericho would form a group that blurred the line between wrestling, loyalty, and chaos, showing there were still new layers to uncover. 8. The Jericho Appreciation Society leader, 2022 to present AEW. By 2022, Chris Jericho had reinvented himself more times than most wrestlers could dream of, but he wasn't done yet. Enter the Jericho Appreciation Society, a faction built on arrogance, loyalty, and pure chaos. Jericho wasn't just a wrestler anymore. He was a leader, orchestrating angles, promos, and matches that blurred the lines between comedy, villainy, and genuine in-ring dominance. This era highlighted Jericho's ability to control not just a match, but an entire storyline. He played the role of a charismatic tyrant, manipulating friends and foes alike while keeping fans glued to every moment inside the ring. He combined sharp technical wrestling with sudden jaw-dropping maneuvers, showing that even after decades he could adapt to any opponent or style. Did you know that Jericho personally helped choreograph each member's entrances and promos to maximize crowd reactions, creating a faction that felt organic rather than scripted? That attention to detail made the group feel like an unstoppable force. Outside the ring, the faction amplified Jericho's larger-than-life persona. He was funny, cruel, charming, and utterly unpredictable. Traits that kept fans debating, cheering, and sometimes groaning at the same time. The Jericho Appreciation Society became more than a group. It was a statement that Jericho still owned the creative space, proving you don't need to be in your prime physically to dominate the story. Even after decades in the business, Jericho's evolution continues. Every version, from Millennium Man to Painmaker, from Le Champion to faction leader, has shown that reinvention isn't optional for him. It's survival, strategy, and artistry all rolled into one. Which version of Jericho is your favorite? Is it the clever manipulator, the ruthless champion, or the chaotic leader? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe for more wrestling deep dives.